Okay, welcome everybody to the other line. Let's see. So call to order. Approval of the minutes of the June 26th, 2024. Do I have a vote?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Great, thank you very much. Is there anybody in the public comment? Rufus?
Not me.
Okay, great, no problem. And we're all set, great. Moving right along, director's update to subcommittee.
Yeah, so I just want to give everyone a quick update. I've reached out to DOT a few times and I've not heard back from them. So when I would call, they would just take a message and no work has been done. So I just want to follow up with you guys on that and the status of that. I know that they are working on tree work and repairing from storms. So they are a little backlogged, but no update on a specific date the berm will be completed. And then we had a porta potty dropped off today at the park. So it's in the parking lot area underneath the trees. So it's an ADA compliant porta potty. So it's accessible so people can get in and out of it that need to. So just because we've seen a lot of heavy use, it just from a safety standpoint, just to have it available for people to use, it made sense to have one there.
Definitely. I just want to say to everybody, Matt's done a great job with the hiking club. We've had more people venturing out into the park at Emery Park. I just want to say thank you very much for a great job.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then just one other quick thing too, I'm working on the CT Visits website. So with CT Visits, it has Emery Park listed there, but it has an outdated description. So I'm working on editing that to update to reflect something different.
Yeah, that was one of my issues I wanted to get done. That was great. Excellent. Thank you very much. It's just, yeah, I mean, there's Eddie. I should mention Eddie as well. Eddie's done a lot of work there as well as for brush cutting. And so I've also done working on the pool, dismantling a lot of the stuff. The one thing that's given me a pain in the neck is the tower. So it's totally, I'm going to have to get a chisel and dig it out. So we'll see what happens with it. But other than that, it's pretty good. Anybody else? Nothing else to say? Good. Let's move on then. Discussion and possible action of Emery Park goals and recommendations to the commission. Starting with line A, pool plan.
So Melissa and Miranda were working on a document for the possible options for the pool. It is, from my end, complete. It's just trying to figure out what date the pool came about. But besides that, I know that the other options looked good on my end. So if you ladies wanted to share with the commission, with the subcommittee, if you feel comfortable and ready to do that, from my end, I'm good to go. So I don't know if you both want to add anything else to it or update it or modify it, but I know that we were drafting it.
I think it's still a draft, and I think we could probably share it with the rest of the Emery Park committee to take a look at, because I guess I emphasize that it's a draft and other opinions at this point would be much appreciated. What do you think, Miranda?
I mean, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's definitely still a draft. And yeah, I'm okay sharing it with this group, but maybe
Yeah, I don't think it's not ready for prime time.
Yeah, it needs some tightening up for sure.
We definitely want to bring other opinions in and make it into more of a presentation. But I think, at least from my perspective, the bulk of the framework is there. And so yeah, I think all three of us have added quite a bit to it, but I think that it could benefit from others' opinions.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Moving along, feeder pond dredging. Yeah.
Yep. So I want to talk a little bit about that. So with the feeder pond, we definitely needed to have it dredged if we wanted to use it as the natural filter for the pool. So just out of curiosity, I wanted to field with the subcommittee if it made sense to make the recommendation to the commission to move the money out of the playground capital fund and move it to the dredging of the feeder pond and have that as an RFP. So we can get the feeder pond dredged, have the dirt removed and silt removed and then replaced, and then put in the plants to act as the filter for the water that would then inflow into the pool itself.
Are we
ready to completely say no to a playground update.
So that's the other thing. That's why I wanted to field it.
So
Here we go.
can you explain one thing to me? Like, do we actually have to go to a town vote to move that money from one to another?
Yes, so the process would be we as a subcommittee make the recommendation to the commission votes on it. And then after the commission votes on it, then it would go to the Board of Finance and then it goes to a town meeting. If I'm correct on that, Rufus, is that right?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm ready to like get there. I'm
Yeah,
that seems pretty like putting the cart before the horse for me.
Yeah, and I feel like we haven't really sorted out what, you know.
Why
if we-
dredge the pond if we're not gonna pursue
Right,
pool
exactly.
there? If we're gonna renaturalize it, you don't dredge the pond.
Yes, so I think
I
we
mean, I'm still confused what it takes to get it open with Torrington Area Health. So if simply dredging the pond means that we can open this and get lifeguards in there and have swimming as soon as whatever, you know, before the end of the season, that's one thing, but I don't know if that's where we're at, because I don't think we've crossed that bridge yet.
no, we haven't, and that's not what I'm trying to interpret from the conversation. I'm just trying to say this is a fielding question to see if that's something we're open to, because this is the money that we have. And if we then go ahead and pursue something with the natural pool itself and we want to use the filter, we would then have to explore some way to have funding for that. So this was, I'm just fielding that money that's available for the playground right now as possible for the funding for the feeder pond dredging fielding question, because we already, as at the commission level, made the decision, but we didn't go to the Board of Finance on it to use that money towards the master plan, towards the drainage at Emery Park. But drainage is being handled by the state. And this is essentially what we're doing for the master plan, is working together as a team to collaborate and decide on what we're going to do moving forward with the park. So that money is still essentially labeled for the playground. So this is more of a fielding conversation to see if this is something we want to do or something that's an open conversation with it. And then if we don't go with it, then it stays with the playground. But
Yeah, I understand that now, and I was confused. Thanks for clarifying. I would agree that if we decide that we can actually make this pool open, and if Torrington Area Health is putting a stamp on it and all that, then yeah, I think a pool before playground is the natural course of action here. You have a playground there. It's not fabulous. It's not beautiful like a new one, but it is a playground.
yeah.
So yeah, if it's a matter of how to fund fixing the pool, and eventually I think, yeah, moving the money from there makes total sense.
Okay.
Wouldn't the Board of Finance want us to use the pool money first?
I think they would want us to use it first, but if we're using the pool money to fix the interior of the pool, which it might end up costing the 150,000 that's available, we would want to have some other sort of subsidy in place to pay for the feeder pond.
Yeah, I
I
think that
Yeah,
one thing is, I think it depends the price tag, and we don't know that yet.
yeah,
I would just be concerned with them saying, use that money first, and then if you need the playground money later, we deal with that later. Do the transfer later.
yeah.
Right. I think we
Thank-
need to have a clear vision of what the say the top 3 priorities are for Emery Park. And then we can try to juggle the money or ask it to be juggled in line with that. I know John and I had walked down there. John had an idea of maybe the splash pad going next to in Emery Park. My feeling was that what I said to Matt was that when we see, I had no idea where Matt envisioned putting the splash pad at Kent Commons. But in terms of down the road, how much it, what the maintenance, the upkeep, the water would be if they looked at both places when they came to Kent. That would probably give us the best idea of where to put a splash pad. What's the most cost effective and whatnot. So, you know, I don't know when Matt's got splash pad companies coming to look at our parks and whatnot. But that's, keep that in mind.
Yeah. And the one thing in regard to the splash pad money that did come in from ARPA, we can't relocate that money to another park. It's specifically tied to the project of having a splash pad at Kent Commons Park.
I can't comment, yeah.
Yeah, it would take a congressional act in order for us to move that money. So that would have to go up to Congress, and they would, as a legislative body, have to make the decision to move the money since it's been dispersed.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, so it's labeled to that project, and that's where it has to go at the moment. So it can't go to Kent Commons, or sorry, it can't go to Emery Park. It has to be at Kent Commons.
Right.
The feeder pond, if we want it to be a natural pool, we'd still have to figure out the feeder pond. And I think we should go with the feeder pond first and then work on the pool.
I think we have to come up with the overall, like, you know, what are we doing? What's the direction we're going in? You know, natural pool. Come up with those options first to give us some direction.
Yeah, I don't think you just go in and start dredging without knowing that you'll be able to get it open. Because silt's gonna continue to flow in until the
And
drainage.
you might get a company that comes in and is willing to do both at the same
For sure.
time.
Yeah,
For sure, but until the road is fixed and the berm is made, like, you still have a drainage problem. You still have all the other problems. Like, you have to fix one thing, then move on to the next, and we're still in the research phase. At least that's what I thought.
no, we definitely still are in the research phase. We haven't left it. That's why when I was asking like the feeder pond question about the finance part of it, the financial end of it, that's more of a research thing for me to understand if we need to go ahead and find other funding sources or if this is a funding source we can utilize. So
Yeah, it's possible there's grants out there that are gonna need the money that's already in there for the pool and the playground money to be a matching, and we just don't know that yet. So we know that it's possible to move it. We know we can make a case to the Board of Finance once we have all of our research in place, but we don't have any of that yet, so.
yeah. No, perfect.
In the last meeting, we had kind of talked about reaching out to wetlands. Do we?
So I talked to Lynn Werner, she's totally on board. She said, name a time, we'll do a joint. So I say that we authorize Matt to work with Ty to pick a time to have a joint meeting between inland wetlands and this group to walk the property. More buy-in from other town people is always better than excluding or not talking to. She was really excited about it, has memories of swimming at Emery Park herself, so.
Awesome. And I can definitely do that. So I'll work with Ty and collaborate with her to find a time that we can have a joint meeting between us and inland wetlands so we can get over to the park and go ahead and tour it. Perfect.
I think that should be your next step, really.
Yeah, definitely. I will send that email to Ty to coordinate. We'll go from there.
Anybody else? Okay, moving on, camping.
So I reached out to Kerma about camping regarding the Boy Scouts having the opportunity to camp after doing trail work at Emery Park. And Kerma said it's at the discretion of the Park and Recreation Department. So I wanted to talk to the group first and then see if we can make a recommendation to the commission on this policy, because I feel it's something that should be coming from the commission level as well, instead of just myself in this department. Looking at how things are structured, I think small group authorized camping, so having the Boy Scouts camp there, or if there's a group that's doing some sort of training that's authorized through the Park and Rec Department and Park and Rec Commission, it would make sense to allow them to camp there safely. Now that we have a porta potty there, we have the space for them to camp in the field. I feel that it would be a great opportunity for them, and it would be monitored by us. We would be able to select when they can camp, when they can't camp. Open communication, we'd set in policies, we'd have them sign a waiver and an agreement. Melissa, I would probably ask you for some more information on what you have structured as your waiver and agreement for when the scouts camp on your property, if you guys.
We don't
do that.
allow camping on our property, but I'm
Okay.
looking at Steep Rocks right now, and I'm sure that the ED at Steep Rock, Brian, would be open to a phone call
Yeah.
with you and me or whomever, and we could get this done pretty quick.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And the,
Maybe it's like a nonprofits are allowed or something like that. Maybe there's a way to.
yeah,
Steep Rock has 2 campsites, or 3 now. They have 3 campsites, and it looks like they have a reservation system, and it's $45 per night. And that includes firewood, and then there's a $3.50 processing fee for a reservation.
not bad.
Not sure we want to necessarily be in the business of supplying firewood, but in the same note, that means that firewood wouldn't come in and from a contaminated location.
Yeah,
I guess I'm okay if we have one campsite and you had online reservation. I don't know if I even care if it's, maybe it's like, maybe it is open to residents to camp here. Maybe there's a limit to how many people, so it's a family of 5 or something.
As far as monitoring something like that, like in a state park, you have rangers that drive around every so often. So I'm wondering what that would look like, just to maintain some sort of, and maybe that's just where you set a limit on, one family per.
Yeah, I don't think it's more
Yeah.
than one campsite. I think it's pushing the limits of the property. So I do think it's one campsite.
Which, are you talking about Emery?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
I could certainly see people wanting to camp up in the upper field, having 4 or 5 tents, that,
So
for a recreational weekend.
in the state park in Macedonia, it's a limit to 2 cars per campsite. So we could put a limit on the amount of cars, and then for the Boy Scouts, you could say numerous tents, but like for a regular family, it's maybe 2 tents.
yeah. Having that limit would be helpful, and it really does show the capacity of what we can do. And that would then also let us field out what we do moving forward with camping potentially open to the public. So I think maybe if we start small and just do scouts and then maybe other groups that are specific. So like an authorized group, like let's say there's a mountain search and rescue course and they're in the area, they need a place to camp while they do their training just because they have to do it overnight. It would make sense for them to camp there. Or if there's another search and rescue team, or if there's another group that wants to do camping, I would say that, and then maybe slowly introduce to families just so that it's not like all of a sudden hot topic, people are jumping on it, and then navigating like what Miranda said, having the rangers available, we would have to contact state police at the moment. So, and I'm trying to think of, staffing wise from an operations perspective, we would have to really go ahead and hire somebody to do it, or it would be me having to work the overnights to be physically present or to be changing it up so that I'm available in some capacity so that if there was an emergency, I could respond.
Yeah,
we should-
I agree. I think maybe start with the,
baby steps.
yeah.
Yeah.
It might be something that Ed Matson would be interested in to add on to his contract. He is fairly local to that area. I would say like the Peace Corps would be a one that they like AmeriCorps and Peace Corps come through and do work. If they were to do some work on the property, they could stay there. Same with Scouts.
Yeah. ATC if they did that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Or AMC rather. AMC. Yeah. So small authorized groups that are organized, formally organized, I think would be a great first step so that we can start introducing it.
I think I would put at least they have a 2-night minimum, but they also have a 48-hour, I think it is. I would want to have like 7 days notice before anyone would camp there, just so that you have time to
Yeah,
prepare, I think
Yeah.
that gives you a whole lot more flexibility than what they're saying here. 3 days, 3 business days are required prior to a reservation. That just doesn't seem like enough.
yeah, that would be a little too short notice for the department and what workload would be required of the department at that point. I think having, more notice would be perfect so that we can go ahead and navigate it.
I think that the information and the camping rules on Steep Rock's website are spot on. So I would take that, the lead from them on that one.
Yeah,
And I think that that could be open on your Park and Rec page.
definitely. I think that's a great move. And then I can go ahead and purchase certain things that would be needed, such as like a bear box just to put the food in, just in case they have food with them, so that there's no bears rummaging through stuff. So,
I think that one thing should be discussed is there a fire pit there, or is it only like, do you move one of the grill boxes to like a camping area and it's only like grill? And do you bring a picnic table over there?
definitely a picnic table. For the fire, I think we could do a fire. There is a fire ring if you go a little bit in on the trail to the left, about 100 feet in. There is an old little site that the scouts used to camp at as a potential location, or not as the potential location to camp now, but as a potential location they used to camp at. And there is a fire ring that was there. So I think if we do have a set fire ring, it would be great. So it's controlled. The only concern I have is there's no access to water other than going down to the pool or going down to the river or the feeder pond to go and grab the water. There's no spigot and there's no like powered water source. So we might want to consider something to do just in case the fire does get out of control or they need to put it out at night, what we can do to, remedy that situation.
It's definitely something to think about.
Well, we have plenty of sand.
I think there should be signage right at the campsite about like the address and the 911, and make sure there's cell service at that place, at that area where the signage is.
Yeah.
There's very little cell service down there. I think something else, if we're thinking about adding this, since there aren't rangers here, like there is at Macedonia, is if we're really considering it, is making sure that the fire danger is very apparent what it is, and that the people that are camping there are very aware of what it is.
Sure.
The last thing we
Yes.
need is it to be a high fire danger and have an issue.
Well, I think that's why, the 7 days notice, there's a reservation system, so Matt has everyone's cell, their email, all of that. And there should be some kind of policy that if fire danger is high, no camping allowed, or you're signing away that you're not gonna do a fire, you're only gonna use a stove.
Yeah. And I think that would be perfect to have that signage there and that communication. And then also on top of that, they appoint a group leader that would be the main point contact for me. So I can go ahead and relay that information to them and then hold them accountable with a waiver or some sort of agreement so that they're aware of what the communications are too and what to expect.
Well, if you're only doing scouts or nonprofits, you can they can do a certificate of insurance.
Yep. And we do require a certificate of insurance for renting the pavilion at Kent Commons Park. So it would make sense to have the certificate of insurance for camping here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for even just not public entities, that for private use. For individuals, they have to get insurance in order to utilize the pavilion. So it would be the same for camping.
Yeah, I think if it's a family, you probably don't get insurance. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
We've gotten a few for birthday parties, so
Yeah,
I mean, if you're talking like the Chernisky family of 3 is going to camp as a family there, like if that just seems a little, if you say no fires because it's a high fire danger, you know, your insurance for the property is covered. If I get hurt hiking, I'm covered. You're covered. I'm not going after the town if I get hurt hiking.
Yeah. No, fair point. Fair point. Okay. So, what I can do is I can develop policies and have them implemented, but on the camping front, we can, make the decision. I don't know if we want to, as the subcommittee, make that decision, or if you feel comfortable with me making that decision as the department and then just rolling forward with small approved organized entities that want to camp and then having policies laid out, or if you want me to show something to the subcommittee so it goes to commission level. Figured
Yes.
that we'd
Latter.
do in
I
that
kind
way.
of feel like it should go to the commission, but that's
Right.
just my,
I think I'm ready to make a motion that we recommend that the commission approve camping by small groups. And then the commission can decide on the policies and such.
What do you say, Rufus?
oh, you're muted.
Muted.
Sorry. I like that idea. I'd like to, if you or Matt, Melissa could send me the camping regulations that you were talking about earlier.
Mhm.
Yeah, just so that we have an idea. I agree. I like the idea of camping there. But I want to go in I'd rather be over prepared than go, oh, damn, we forgot.
Yeah.
I will say that we, Kent Land Trust, do allow the Boy Scouts to camp on one property that allows open fires when they do work for us. So we do have that kind of deal, and it's nothing formal. And they do provide the certificate of insurance.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, though. I have to run. I have another meeting I've got to get to in New Milford, but
Thanks, Rufus.
Thanks, Rufus.
I would like just to say leashes are important for the next item.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Very good.
That's my one thing. Okay,
Very good.
see you guys later.
So
So I
most,
made a motion, no one
Yeah.
seconded it, but if there's no second, I'll withdraw it. It's up to you guys.
I'll second that.
thank you, Lisa.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can you say out loud who it is?
Sorry. I
guess.
And I think Miranda's frozen.
Oh, yeah. You're out.
You're not frozen anymore. Yay. Oh,
Oh, and then she was gone.
all right.
Oh, here she comes back. Miranda, you're back.
I don't know what's going on. My internet is weird.
Did you hear our motion?
Yes, I did.
Are you an aye or
I
a
am
nay?
an I, yes.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
great.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Matt,
So
I'll
moved.
put those links together and send it to you and John, and you guys can forward to Rufus.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, next one. Item D, dog policy in Emery Park and on the trails.
So I reached out to Kerma regarding this in the same conversation about camping, and they said that we can allow dogs on the trails on leash. I followed up with asking about dogs in the park because we do have a swimming area, and I wanted to see if it was mirroring a policy that would be what state parks use, and they referenced the DPH, and they said that dogs can't be in the vicinity of the swimming area between April 15th through September 30th. So I just want to make a formal recommendation to the subcommittee that we discuss or approve having dogs on the trail with leashes, as it is covered with our insurance and we're good to go on our end for that. So it's just providing the educational tools, putting out signage, making the announcement, and then saying that dogs are allowed on trail but not in the park itself. And I have dog bags. I'm happy to purchase something to put out so that there are dog bags available. So this would be accessible to people that want to use it. So again, this would be a recommendation for us to vote on it, and then it goes to the commission level for approval.
So can we discuss just, I don't love the idea, like, I think that dogs shouldn't go within the fenced area. Is there a way to phrase that as opposed to, you said they're not allowed in the park. I consider the whole Emery Park property, the park, and I would just say that dogs aren't allowed within the fenced area. If I were to make that motion.
I would suggest that we say that dogs are only allowed on the trail and not in the park area around the pool because they're gonna let the animals shit there.
That's what I said, though. I think defining the park as the whole property and defining the pool area as the fenced in area.
But like there's the fenced in area of the pool as opposed to all the land around it and the playground and the
You
fountain
have
and
to
the,
get to the, go through there to get to the trail. So,
or they
yeah,
can walk down the road.
but they're not going to. They're not. They're gonna go down the way we always do. Someone's gonna bring their dog on a leash and sit at the playground and walk their dog while their kid plays in the playground, and I think that's fine. I don't recommend having the dog bags and the garbage, because then you have to remove all that, and people will leave their dog bags filled with poop that will never do anything.
And there's already been issues with people dumping garbage in the garbage there, just
Yeah.
emptying cars out.
I don't think
Um,
there should be a garbage can or anything like that at the park. I think it,
There's pack out what you pack in.
Yeah,
exactly,
fair
and
enough, yep.
Matt, if you remember, we talked to Josh Rimini about that at Emery Park, and he said people don't understand that if the dumpster is closed, they're gonna put the trash right next to the dumpster. They're not gonna put it in the dumpster because people are in city areas are saying that if a dumpster is closed, then they're not allowed to put stuff in. And
Right.
and his experience is from Macedonia and Kent Falls, and so I trust that. I think you remove all garbage cans. You do not put poop bags in. You say that dogs are not allowed within the fenced-in area. Done, and it has to be on a leash. We do not have any poop bags, garbage disposal at any of our preserves.
Okay. We have it at Kent Commons and it's been successful. There hasn't been any poop bags that have been left around that are full, which was great. That's why I'm making the recommendation on that, since I'm seeing that exhibited in Commons at the moment, but I hear exactly what you're saying, Melissa, about Emery.
But
and what
Commons,
I would say. Yeah,
so Rick's guys empty the garbage at Commons. Does Rick's
Right.
guy go and empty the garbage at Emery Park?
No,
there's no garbage at Emery Park.
There
There's
was
no
a
garbage
garbage
bins or
there
anything at all.
last year.
There was, yeah, there has been.
Well,
past
currently
garbage.
there's not.
Emptied, and the Bears got into it several times because people just empty their cars out and throw everything away.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I don't think you, especially if you have camping, I don't think you want any kind of garbage facilities. Pack in, pack out, and that will be clear in the rules and everything.
Yeah,
Especially if we're allowing camping.
By reservation, so you would be able to trace their garbage and their, after a reservation, someone's going in to restock the wood if that's what we're supplying, all that.
yeah. No, that would make a lot of sense. So no, and that I hear you on that too, having the camping available and having garbage there that would attract the bears, and we don't want to do that. So yeah.
And I don't know, I mean, I think that maybe no dogs allowed if you're camping.
I agree with that.
Because you're not putting your dog on a leash when they're sleeping and camping and.
Right. And they're gonna roam about, and if they poop in the area, it's gonna, they're not taking care of it. They're not gonna pack in, pack out. They're not gonna notice it if it goes out at night. They're not gonna see where it is. They're gonna forget about it. So yeah, eliminates that issue.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think you need a dog to scare off the bears.
don't worry, there's plenty up there. There's 2 up there now.
And the
There's
dog
bears
is
all
scaring-
over.
Yeah.
Or not.
No, but I think in the lower part where the pool is, and Lynn is right, as far as the playground goes, the guy's gonna walk. They're gonna let their dogs loose or on a leash. They should be leashed as well, but not in that area. But
The fenced in area.
I don't know how you
Wouldn't have-
differentiate
okay.
that. I think you
you
only
can't, you
have,
can't. And it's a lower. Yeah, the only thing you can do, is to say that it's the lower part, and that the camping area is the upper part. So.
I think it would be very complicated to understand that. I think it's really clear to say no dogs allowed within the fenced area, but I don't see how you.
It says no dogs allowed. It's people can't understand that either. So
Matt, are you looking for a motion from us to recommend to the Park and Rec Committee?
looking for a motion to make the recommendation to the Park and Rec Commission regarding allowing dogs on the trail in Emery Park. It was more specifically on the trail. One recommendation I have is I can go ahead and put up signage in certain spots and say dogs are allowed beyond this point or no dogs beyond this point, so people know where dogs can and can't go. So at least there's signage. Maybe we just specify and say that the Emery Park location is specifically the grass area with the pool, and then we have, you know, the forest, which is up a little bit more, and we call it, you know, like Leonard Mountain Forest or something. But that's a whole nother conversation delineation thing. That's, you know, that's extreme. But
I think it's much easier from a dog owner's perspective to say dogs allowed except within the fenced area. So I'll make a stab at the motion to say, I make a motion that we recommend to the Park and Rec Committee that they allow dogs within Emery Park Preserve except within the fenced in pool area while dogs on leash.
I'll second that.
John,
John, with us?
Anybody? Yes. Any other discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
So can you say it out loud so I can hear it?
Melissa says aye. Miranda,
Aye.
Lisa. Lynn, where are you at?
I love you, but I'm saying no.
That's fine.
I say no as well too. You have to define it a little bit better than that. Fenced in area is the pool area, but all the playground area and all the picnic areas that are further up by the roadway there are just, you know, you got to define that more.
so I think, you know, with the motion that we just passed, we can definitely have a further conversation at the commission level.
Right.
And we can bring up these topics because this is what we discussed. There was the approval of it. However, there is a dissent that's with it, and there is rationale to that dissent. So we can definitely engage that conversation with the commission and then go from there.
It
But
should really,
the essence of the conversation is that dogs are allowed in a specific part of the park, but we just have to define exactly that location. And I know that
Yeah.
at the subcommittee level, we didn't get there at the moment. You know, it's not a unanimous decision, but we can go ahead at the commission level and engage that conversation if we feel that it's appropriate, unless you guys feel that that's overstepping the motion.
No, I think
Right.
that's fine. We're just a recommendation body.
Yeah.
that's it.
Do you think it's worth making a separate addendum to our camping motion to just say we do not want camp dogs to be able to camp? Or let the commission take care of that with our recommendation?
I personally would like the commission to finally.
I didn't hear you, John. I'm
Can you
sorry.
repeat that?
The Park and Rec Commission, leave it up
Great.
to the commission.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you all. That's it from the dog policy on the trails in Emery Park.
Okay, who's available in the next month or so?
For what?
The next, so you're talking the next meeting or?
Yeah, next meeting, yeah.
Well, I think we're waiting on Ty and Matt to come up with an inland wetlands joint meeting.
So what I'll do is I'll reach out to Ty to go ahead and get some times and availability from her for inland wetlands, and then I can get, you know, once I get that, I can go ahead and field it with the team here, and we can go ahead and have a joint meeting.
Maybe
Right.
just a joint doodle would solve the problem a little easier.
Absolutely, it would.
That's perfect, thank you.
All right, perfect.
So
Motion
I
to
don't
adjourn.
know, Melissa and Matt, does it make sense for us to meet at some point to maybe solidify our document that we started working on?
I think we could
Maybe
probably
what-
wait till after the inland wetlands meeting, because I think we might have some more insight as to what is allowed and not allowed, or the expectations that that they're gonna have on the actual property.
Yeah,
I'm a
no,
little worried that we solidify something and then all of a sudden they're telling us, you know what, guys?
that, yeah, no,
You
you're
can't
right.
put a chlorinated pool here or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
I'm throwing out a crazy idea. I'm not throwing out a real idea. I'm just saying, like, I think that we have to learn a little more from them. And I think
No, I
it's gonna be very
agree.
productive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they could eliminate one of them.
That's what I,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Awesome.
I'm truly excited to meet within the wetlands and hear more perspectives from their specialty of the property.
Yeah, no, it'll be very insightful and it'll help us make some really good decisions on what we're gonna do next with the pool and what we can do moving forward.
And Matt, remember that Maria Horn did say that if you didn't hear back from the state to give her a nudge, so I think it's
Yeah.
time.
I think it's time. And I know that same with Steve Harding, so coming from both
Mhm.
parts of the House and the Senate would be great. So it's time to definitely give a nudge.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, then. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Who's that?
Lisa, second.
Great, thank you. All those in favor?
Hi.
Thank you very much for coming.
Bye, thank you.
Right.
Yep.
Thank you all.
Hi.